What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Bring you guys a video finally. I mean, it's been a couple days since my last video. I've been too busy playing Path of Exile, man. Been absolutely into PoE 2. But I made this tweet yesterday just talking about, let's see what people's hot takes and opinions are. We've done a couple of these videos in the past. I know other content creators in other fields have also done this kind of thing as well. Just to get a little bit of gauge in terms of and a little bit of discussion with you guys in the community and see what you guys are talking about. The thing is the way that Treasure Cruise has kind of been, nothing has really changed over the last few years in Treasure Cruise. So I feel like a lot of the things we'll discuss in this video are going to be pretty reminiscent, things that we've talked about before. But without further ado, let's get into it. Let's have a look. We've got the boy, Captain Pappy here. Pulling less actually makes the game more fun. Less legends outdated fast, save money and gems for important Sugos, 99% of content is still beatable, bring some part of the puzzle aspect back, higher chance to pull a variety of new legends from celebration and anniversary Sugos. This might be one of the hottest takes I've ever seen, and I actually don't mind it. This take is actually kind of sick, and personally, I've also been pulling back in terms of the amount of gems that I've been spending, just for financial reasons. Obviously, would love to save money, because, spending a lot on Treasure Cruise when it's not giving as much back, it's like, why put the money in, you know what I mean? And I have felt this. I've been pulling a lot less. Obviously, I still do pulls here and there, like treasure map Sugos and stuff like that. But this is true. Like, legends get outdated fast, it's super valid. Like, if you just look back at some of the monthly legend releases that we have, a lot of them aren't even good on release. And even if we go to like certain anniversary, celebratory events, a lot of those legends get power crept pretty fast as well. When you really look at it, like, the best Sugo Fest to pull on typically is going to be New Year's or the anniversary Sugo Fest in May. And if we have a look at last year's anniversary Sugo Fest, they had the release of Luffy, Ace, Shanks, and Roger. All four of those units are like still the best units in the game, pretty much. And those are the ones that came out during those big celebratory events. There haven't been many characters that have come, in between those big events that have actually kind of stood the test of time. There are a couple of them that are outliers, like, Nami and Karina, for example, debuting on a random treasure map Sugo Fest. There's like, Kizuna Toki, for example. Like, there are outliers that are very powerful, that are very good, but generally speaking, waiting to pull for characters on big celebratory events is just a better way to go about it, because if you just don't do pulls on every banner that drops, it means that there are going to be more new characters, or a higher chance to pull a new character when you do eventually do your pulls. And the fact is like 99% of content is still beatable. This is pretty valid. You need to have a pretty established account in order for this to be true. If your account is more new or more mid-level, and when I say like a mid-level account, I mean like if you've only started your account within the last like maybe 1 to 2 years, and you don't do many pulls, like, you're probably not going to have a very established account. And if you haven't farmed a lot of the other free-to-play content in the game, to have a lot more variety in your character box, then yeah, this is going to be very true. So I think this is a pretty good point from Pappy. I love hearing that. That's good. Shout out to my man Pappy. Actually, let's see what the response was. There any response to this tweet? Agree. I have 935 gems. I won't be pulling on the super banner, saving for Annie. I miss a lot of the legends on the banner. Yeah, exactly. Valid points here. All right, we got Mr. Red Halo Gaming, another Treasure Cruise content creator. PvP is the worst game mode. That is a take. I have seen people have this opinion before, so let's see what he says. To be competitive, you have to spend far more gems than any other mode. I don't know. Well, okay, yes, true. The amount of gems that you spend in order to like reach those top ranks is pretty harsh. 1 gem for 3 runs at Rumble is pretty bad. And then on top of that, I haven't read the rest of this, but on top of the fact that in order to actually have a competent team, you need to have a lot of investments on your characters most of the time. Like, if you have the best team and all the units are level 99, and someone has the best team but all the units are level 120, you're going to get absolutely destroyed. There's just no ifs or ands buts about it. Like, you're just going to get wrecked, right? You have to spend far more gems than the other mode, pull for meta rumble units to even compete, and apart from the 2 legend copies you get for participating, the rewards are trash. There is also Grand Party, which sucks super hard. Yeah, Grand Party is a pretty bad game mode, but what I will say is that for the amount of time investment needed for Grand Party, and the fact that it only comes out once a month, the rewards you get from Grand Party are amazing. but in order to receive those rewards, it is very difficult to do. You need to get kind of lucky, honestly. I was able to do it this month, but yeah, things can get pretty rough. Alright, we've got Ace here, scrap regular Kizuna and keep Super Boss Kizuna only. I think this should be a thing, especially with how difficult it is to acquire the Super Evolution skills for characters in events that are not Super Boss, just the generic Kizunas. Man, it's so tough because, obviously having Super Boss Kizuna makes a big difference. You acquire so many more tickets, which allows you to reach box 7 far easier. I assume this is what he's going to mention here. Okay, he's going into something else differently. Okay, well, still, I agree with the Super Boss stuff. I would agree only to the fact that maybe Super Boss should only have 2 variations maximum. Anything more than that is a bit excessive. And honestly, I think Kizuna just should only be 2 variations as well. 10-star and then 15-star difficulty. There shouldn't be anything more than that. And then to be honest, for a Super Boss Kizuna, they could probably get away with just having the Kizuna be one boss. So you just build one team and you don't need like 3 different teams or whatever. Like, I hate doing that. It's so annoying. But either way, let's move on. Bring back raids to fill the gap. I agree with this completely. Raids are a really good thing in the game because raids are not tied behind point boosters. So you can run whatever team you want, and the fact that raids or clashes will allow you to acquire free-to-play units. They could just have a free-to-play event every single month, you farm it, you get a free-to-play unit that synergizes with the batch that comes out at the time, and I think that would be a really good idea to do that, because sometimes, you could pull for the new legend, you don't get some of the rare recruits, and especially with EX Supers, Super Tandems, etc., you need certain units in order to fulfill those requirements, and we've had this in the past where batches would come out and the characters they want you to use just aren't that great, but if they allow you to use a free-to-play unit that comes out with the batch, it just synergizes much better. Now, yes, we do get PKA, but if you add another free-to-play character on top of that, it would just be awesome. Heck, they don't even need to give it a special animation. Sometimes you launch a special and it just has like a little banner that shows up with the character artwork. Honestly, they could just do that. If they don't want to go through the effort of having a special animation, I'm fine with that. Just give us a free-to-play unit. It gives us a little bit more creativity for team building. It would just be awesome. It could have Chopper Man missions for clearing it with all types and classes. Even that's a good idea too, to give 5 skulls to Super Evolve a Legend, plus the end of month legends could give bonus drops so they have more value. There's lots of different things that they could do to spice up the way that Treasure Cruise currently performs, but they just refuse to do it. I know that like myself, Stump, just us two in particular, we provide a ton of feedback to Bandai in regards to ways they can improve Treasure Cruise. Whenever something goes wrong, we let them know immediately. So it's just crazy that we have for years given them a ton of feedback and things that they could do to improve the quality of the game, and nothing changes, bro. It's crazy. So it is what it is. Let's move on. We got Hunter Hanzo. The numbers in this game are skewed. Talking about trillion damage is ridiculous and can't even count the digits when I attack. No commas or separators, so it's harder. I mean, this is a very small change and it wouldn't be that hard to do. We've seen in game in terms of how it's done. It's literally just like a sprite sheet and each number has its own space, and then obviously when they code the numbers, they put it in a certain position. It wouldn't be that hard to just add a comma and then insert that at every 3-digit interval. It wouldn't be that hard to do, but they again just refuse to do it. Hey, at the end of the day, Dokkan Battle doesn't do it either. At least they don't do it when you're like in game doing damage. They don't have commas. I know HP values do at the bottom of the screen. I'm trying to think off of the top of my head here, but when you actually do damage in the game, I'm pretty sure it doesn't have a comma. But when you look at character stats, I believe it does. I don't know. Either way, like, just, it's a very simple fix. They could do it. Just a slight change would be nice. They should reset it to be in the thousands instead, as it would be more quantifiable. I think the game is in a state right now where that is kind of impossible for them to do. I mean, look, if you got captains that are like reaching 6 times captains, you have stats in the thousands, and then if you have double captains, ship abilities, attack boost, orb boost, color affinity boost, the damage just, you can't just change that number, right? It just doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, I don't think they can change that. Death X. Grand Voyage has potential, but implemented very bad due to strict team with high investment. Grand Voyage has always been a contentious issue. It's funny, if you guys don't remember, when they first were announcing Grand Voyage as a thing in Treasure Cruise, they basically marketed the game mode as a game mode where you could use your old characters. And while that is true, every game mode, technically, you can use your old characters. They basically shoehorned it in the way where they introduce level limit break. If you have investments in your old characters, you can then use them against the Grand Voyage, and then it works out. That's kind of what it is. It's basically content that is catered for for the older characters with the new level limit break system, but it hasn't scaled very well. It is aged very, very poorly. And Grand Voyage, while it does have potential, it's not a very good game mode. And again, you can say this thing about every single game mode in Treasure Cruise, where it has a really good idea, a good concept, but the implementation of that concept in the game is just super poor. He goes on to say TM is still by far the best current game mode in both grinding and rewards. Yeah, 100%. As much crap that Treasure Map actually receives, it is the best game mode in terms of rewards for time investment. You just get so many rewards, and it is the best. You have to play it. That's the thing as well. You have to play it because you need limit break materials. So it is what it is. End of month legends feel like recruits. 100% agree with this one. We haven't really had that many good end of month batch releases. I would argue that the most recent one with Mr. One, Mihawk and Alba has been the best end of month batch that we have released, I don't know, in quite a long time. The last batch that I would say is close to that is probably like Super Tandem Law, Super Tandem Kid. And these characters are very, very strong. He also says, Bait Sugo Egghead anime that we currently have is the best Sugo by far. It is a fantastic Sugo Fest. A lot of good characters in it for sure. Of course, there are a lot of good characters that are not in the Sugo Fest, but the fact that it has some Kizuna legends, it has some Treasure Map legends, some PvP legends as well, and the fact that a lot of people haven't been pulling for these batches as well, it just means that there's a very high chance for people to pull on this banner and get new stuff, which I think is cool. The only issue is it's coming out 1 month before the actual anniversary Sugo Fest, so I can't really recommend it that much, but it's a good Sugo Fest. We can all agree on that. Gamo says, I know this one's a lot more subjective, but I've grown so tired of Treasure Cruise art style for their cards. Look, okay, again, this is your opinion, but I think I just wholeheartedly disagree with this one. I feel like so many potential amazing moments that could be used for card arts get washed completely when done in the style, but with the constant releases, it's probably easier. To be honest, I just disagree with this one. I think Treasure Cruise's art style is one of the best gacha art styles, like, just period. I think that the artwork looks phenomenal. Some of the special animations, I'll admit, are a little clunky. They look a little weird. Some of them do look really, really good though. But if we're comparing, like, just you click on the card just to see the abilities and you see the artwork, it's one of the best in gacha, to be honest. It looks phenomenal. They do such a good job with it. I will say that some of the ink effect art styles are a little weird. They're just a little basic. But I will say the artwork wise looks fantastic. Zora Fangirl says, I felt like if you don't pull, you'll be left behind. So I hope less pulling. The values of every unit diminishes fast. Yeah, I agree with this one in terms of, like, the value of units does diminish quite fast because they are basically trying to sell you on the next best thing. So they bring out the anniversary, which brings high-powered characters, which we all love. But then, you know, they want you to keep pulling on every single banner that releases. So if they release a piece of content where the new units are the best for that, they want you to pull for those units. So they have to bring some kind of value to this, and this is where the point drop or the dupe drop system has really hurt Treasure Cruise, I think, in the long run, because when a new piece of content would come out, you just wouldn't immediately think, oh, I need to pull the new unit because that's going to help me with this new content. No, they didn't do it like that. Back when Treasure Cruise was, I'd say within the first, like, 4 to 5 years of Treasure Cruise, it was always like, you know, new content comes out and it's like, okay, what can I build with my current character box to take on that content? It was never about, I need to pull the new unit to help me beat this content. There was, like, some kind of, like, design philosophy shift when, I guess it was around the time when TM clicked into high gear, when TM was becoming more of an important thing, and then they shifted from Colosseums to arenas, and then they didn't really release arenas all that much, and then they dropped raids, and they kind of realized, oh wait, we don't need to do all this other stuff, because they were doing, like, Fortnite Islands, clashes, all this other stuff, all these really cool events that were fun to play, and they're like, oh wait, we can just not do that, save a bunch of assets, save a bunch of resources, and just, you know, give you guys more things to pull on, and that has really hurt Treasure Cruise, honestly, in the long run. Alright, we have the next one here, at FQCV YouTube. I assume YT is YouTube. Less Sugo per month. I assume this means per month. Maybe 2 is good. For anniversary or big celebration is okay, actually, but not every month. I mean, again, less Sugofest exclusives would be better, but it's not going to be the case anymore, unfortunately. Rework ship level up is too random for 3 times 5-star. Yes, dude, the ship upgrading system needs a massive overhaul, dude. It takes way too goddamn long, and the chance to actually receive the mods that you want is just ridiculously low. Like, people are spending upwards of like 50,000 cola, billions and billions and billions of berries without getting the actual mods, which is really terrible. I mean, they really need to speed up the process as well, which would make things a lot cleaner. Like, there should just be an auto button and then stop when you immediately receive like 3 mods over 5-star or something like that. That should be what it is. It takes too long. Co-op is boring. Co-op, again, this is one of those things where they had a great idea, but the execution was so terrible. And auto power-up fix. Don't max with max. Egghead banner. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by the auto power-up fix. I haven't had too much of an issue with auto power-up, so I can't really comment too much on that one. Alright, Ash here with this one. There will never be another banner like the Egghead TV Sugofest, and if there was another one, the gems to summon on it will be non-existent as now for free-to-play players. Well, yeah, the Egghead Sugofest, we kind of talked about it already. It's a crazy banner. It's wild. And the thing is like Treasure Cruise has had a ton of those banners in the past. Like, not the exact same structure, but we have had Sugofest in the past where, you know, they'll have free multis, or they'll have like 1 gem multis where it's like, do 3 multis, and then the next one after that is like a 1 gem multi. They've done that a ton in the past. I mean, like, again, like, even pulling back to another crazy banner was when, you know, V2 Katakuri first dropped, and if you did, like, was it 6 multis or 9 multis on the V2 Katakuri banner, you guaranteed to get 6+ Snake Man, just because, why not? Like, they never really do that kind of thing anymore, and now they just kind of, like, lock everything behind a stupid banner. It's really annoying. Treasure Cruise officially died in 2021. It was still good. It was still good during then. I don't know exactly when the point was where things went truly downhill, but yeah, either way, Treasure Cruise hasn't been in good stead recently. We can all understand that. Steven says, I really did enjoy the Vegapunk Sugofest being so cheap. They should consider doing this more. Actually, that's kind of interesting as well. One aspect I didn't think about. I wonder what the revenue for the month of April is going to look like with this banner releasing. Like, I wonder if people actually went out of their way to spend money to pull on this specific banner because of the structure. Because if that shows that that people would actually go out of their way to buy gems to pull on a banner such as that, that would lead them into thinking that they are more likely to do something like that in the future. So let's hope that is the case. They really should bring back Neo Clashes through the Collection Coliseum and add the Imposter Straw Hat Strength Clash. Again, all free-to-play content, in my opinion, should be available, and for some reason, they just refuse to add a lot of the stuff. Heck, there's still an Arena character that is not in the Recollection Archive yet. Arena Katarina Devon is not in the Recollection Archive yet. It's crazy. But there's still a ton of Colosseums and stuff that are not available. It's really, really dumb. Lastly, we need more clashes and crossover events. Clashes, yes. Crossover events, in my opinion, not so much. It would be cool, but it's not like a necessity, right? At Luffy11411 says, opinion, pulls should be 30 gems based on how many champs release. I agree. Every multi from here on out really should just be 30 gems. 50 gems is way too steep considering how many gems, like how long it takes to acquire 50 gems is crazy. 30 gem for every multi I think would be fine. Or what they should do is like make the steps better, or keep the steps how they are but make them 30 gem multis. One or the other I think needs to happen. Hot take, I'll take S-Snake over Jack on the strength team in Pirate Rumble because her enemy CT speed and attack reduction. I think that S-Snake is fine. I still personally like Jack because the health cuts synergize so well with the other really powerful strength units like Kuma and the Film Red Snake Man. So you can go ahead and use Jack for the health cut launches very quickly, and then as soon as like Kuma or Luffy launch, like they just die, they just melt, right? I really like that. So either way, S-Snake is still fine though. S-Snake's solid. Zoro WBS, Super Evos haven't even been relevant since 2023, outside of the Rumble and Point Boosters. Super Evos haven't been relevant since 2023. Super Evos technically haven't been really, like, relevant for even longer than that, to be honest. Like, we kind of mentioned it a bit earlier with V2 Katakuri Sugofest debuting the 6+ Snake Man. Like, 6+ used to be a really, really big deal. and now they're just kind of like a thing that happened every month, and they're just so low effort, and you just never know what you're gonna get. Whereas, again, I hate comparing to Dokkan, but it's just one of the things that we can do. We can compare with Dokkan because they're both published by Bandai Namco. You know, they're in the same basket as each other in a way. But it's just really frustrating when you have a game like Dokkan Battle with their quote unquote super evolutions, and those super evos or Extreme Z Awakens basically become like modern units, like legit. Like imagine they 6+ like V1 Whitebeard to be like as good as like a Super Sugarfest character. That's legitimately what they do. And we get a 6+ for a character and the character just stinks. It's like, oh, let's just slightly tune the numbers up and then add one little ability on top. It's just, it's really not good enough, honestly. It really isn't. Just such a shame. Rare recruits are getting worse by the year. The best rare recruit in the past 2 to 3 years doesn't even make top 20 in the game. Yeah, rare recruits are dead, basically. They come out for a batch to support for one piece of content, and then they're basically gone. Rare recruits are very, very redundant now. Not like back in the old days where, you know, you didn't really have a lot of legends to use. So rare recruits made up a lot of your teams. And there were some rare recruits that were incredibly powerful back in the day. Like talking about like my man Bobbin, right? Like that unit was used on so many teams, getting around so many different debuffs. But now we just have legends that can do what they do, but better, right? So you just kind of like, again, redundant in a lot of use cases. Super Evos being paywalled isn't that bad. Be honest, you're not going to use them. I mean, look, that is true, but it's still the fact that they're locking bad units behind a Sugofest is terrible. It's bad practice, dude. It shouldn't exist. It really shouldn't, because people that don't know well enough are going to go out of their way to pull for those units thinking, oh, this is a new unit, blah blah blah, and they're just wasting their gems. And it's not even just like a new player thing where they don't know any better. It's just the practice of it. It really shouldn't be a thing. And even more so because the characters aren't that good. If the character was uber powerful, I mean, that would be even more frustrating, but like you could kind of understand it to an extent. It would still suck, but the fact that the characters are bad and they're still locking them behind a Sugofest doesn't make sense. It is so dumb. And yes, I do agree, the characters you're probably not going to use anyway, but it's still dumb. Because they boost them on the content, like let's say the month of like when New Year's happened, right? So the 6+ waifus came out, and the 6+ waifus were boosted on every piece of content for that upcoming month. Yet no one had them because no one went to go pull for them. Like it's just dumb. Like that just shouldn't be a case. If they were to do that, then the 6-star version should also be boosted on all pieces of content at the same level as the 6-star plus. If they're not going to, you know, allow people to get them for free straight away, it's just really, really dumb. Okay, so we have Yuls says, if the game closes, there won't be any replacement. They'll just focus on Bounty Rush. Unfortunately, that is true if that is going to happen. I don't think Treasure Cruise is going anywhere anytime soon, because if you have a look at the revenue, Treasure Cruise literally just prints money, and the upkeep cost of Treasure Cruise, I don't know the numbers, but it's likely not that high considering the effort that they're putting into it. So why would they close a game that is literally just printing them free money? I don't think that they would do that, but we'll see. Maybe that's the case. But yeah, I mean, I would love to see a new One Piece gacha game, because in my opinion, I'm not a big fan of Bounty Rush, so we'll have to wait and see, I guess. We got green here. TM Legend Buggy, Kizuna Legend Khalifa, and the Zora Enemies Batch Legends were all more impressive and exciting than Global Anniversary Legends. Yeah, I mean, that's actually very, very valid. The Global Anniversary batches are kind of a meme at this point. Like, no one really cares about Global Annie all that much. It's more of just like a formality, right? Oh, you know, it's Global Annie. Here's like a cool celebratory batch. But yeah, we swiftly move on from that one. I agree, especially Zora Enemy batch. Really, really fun stuff. Legend Khalifa was also a surprising addition. She's actually quite good. And Team Legend Buggy has some interesting stuff going on as well. All right, Lel says, we are not bringing good content back. OPTC dev team. Yeah, I mean, I hope that things happen, but we'll have to wait and see. Heck, I mean, we should be receiving an update in regards to the big anniversary update for Treasure Cruise sometime soon. Within the next week or so, we should have info in regards to what the new anniversary update is, and that's going to be interesting to see what they have for Treasure Cruise's update this year. We'll see. All right, Aminul says, I would like to hear your views on what might the Annie theme / units be based on. I think that Anniversary this year is likely going to be based on the anime. That would make the most sense, even though that is likely going to happen. It would be a little disappointing walking into another anniversary with yet again another Gear 5 Luffy on the horizon. As annoying as that is, it is the most likely scenario, and then most likely a Borsalino is likely going to be here as well. Who knows exactly, but in my opinion, it's going to be anime related, so likely Egghead. And I am excited to see once they get deeper into Egghead, once we get like representation for other certain units that have not really had a lot of time to showcase in the anime yet. There are really cool things on the horizon, so we're just kind of waiting to see what they could do with that. I mean, heck, even a Bartholomew Kuma character would be really cool as like an anniversary legend. Maybe like a Bonnie Kuma kind of unit, that would be kind of neat. We'll have to wait and see exactly, but in my opinion, it's going to be anime focused. Reformed Forest says the number of legend releases is not an issue. How banners are structured instead it is. Well, I'd say both. Having a legend release for every piece of content in the game is a little ridiculous. It is. And then also banner structure is really bad as well on top of that. Playing every mode without boosters is way more entertaining. Shout out to Pappy mentioning that before. I don't know if I would call it entertaining because playing Treasure Map without boosters, without like the top boosters, I wouldn't call that entertaining. But I see what you mean. Like being able to, use your established character box to build teams for content. I would say, yeah, I agree with that, with what you're saying, because if you just use the boosted units that come out, it's not really exciting. It's more of just like, oh, I bought the puzzle pieces. Now I can complete the puzzle, right? And then also saying, I like Grand Voyage and wish it was more consistent. I mean, hey, opinions are opinions, right? So if you like Grand Voyage, that's dope, but I agree, like, they should just be bringing us every piece of content more often. And Grand Voyage, with the actual implementation of the way that it was kind of given to us, is really bad, where if you don't have that one invested team, it makes things really hard. And that's not really the case for especially the older ones now. There are multiple teams that can beat a lot of the other Grand Voyages, but typically it still involves some weird strategy or characters that you will still need some kind of investment in, which does make things a little bit more annoying. But theoretically speaking, as time progresses, Grand Voyage should also get easier as you get more investments and as new characters come out that can synergize with the mission requirements. Technically, that is the case. I wish Kizuna in its entirety was removed. Now, I don't agree with its entirety to be removed. It needs a heavy rework, though, especially Kizuna Exchange, because those, 7 Kizuna boxes have almost been, unchanged since Kizuna's inception, which is crazy to think about. All right. We've got Issues Fem here saying extended artworks, for the most part, look worse than old, smaller ones. Now, that is a hot take. I disagree, but hey, I'm all for hot takes, man. The bigger frame is usually filled with the character's body since they don't know what else to do, which makes them poses seem stiff and less dynamic than the smaller artworks. See, I agree that there are some bigger artworks that look bad, but there's also a lot of the smaller artworks that don't look great either. I guess you can make that argument with all the artworks in Treasure Cruise, where, but then again, art is subjective. So I guess it is what it is. It's your opinion. I respect it. I'm gonna respectfully disagree though. And we got Eric here says, if they do another enemies themed Sugo Fest, I would honestly rather have a new Arlong Hody and hell, even a Kura legend over a Katakuri, Kaido, and Doflamingo legend. Well, at the end of the day, they like to sell their Sugo Fest, and Katakuri, Kaido, and Doflamingo are much more popular characters compared to Arlong, Hody, and Kura, unfortunately. I think in terms of representation, I would love Arlong, Hody, and Kuro to get a batch. That would be pretty cool. But at the end of the day, they have to sell their Sugos, and I think Katakuri, Kaido, and Dofi would win most people's opinions over the other three. But in terms of Treasure Cruise standards, if you're talking about an established Treasure Cruise player, I do think that they would probably agree with you here. But if you're talking about just generic One Piece fan, I think Katakuri, Kaido, and Dofi beat the other three. Alright, we got Barber here says, maybe not a hot take, but Halloween themed characters have better art, design, and sprites than the Christmas themed characters. I do agree with this one, actually. The Christmas themed characters, they always have the same shit, whereas the Halloween units are really unique. If you just compare Halloween Ace to the Halloween waifus, Halloween Perona, even Halloween Uta, right? They just all have unique designs to them, whereas the Christmas units, oh, I'm dressed as Santa. How cool is that? That's really cool stuff. Yeah, nah, I agree with this one. The Halloween themed characters are way cooler. I like the spooky theme a lot more. We got What's He Trading, One Piece TCG. Yeah. I mean, the One Piece card game is a hell of a lot of fun. Shout out to any fans. If you guys are One Piece card game enjoyers, let me know down below in the comment section. And if you are a One Piece TCG enjoyer, would love to hear what is your current favorite deck to play in One Piece TCG. For me, I'm a Blackbeard main, or I was gonna say V1 Dofi, but basically V1 Dofi, Blue Dofi. But also shout out to the new Purple Katakuri coming out in OP11. That's gonna be a bunch of fun to play. We got Stanley here, says Grand Party is actually a fun game mode, some of the best rewards, and it doesn't take hours of grinding to achieve the rewards. We mentioned this earlier, like GP, you get good rewards for it. It doesn't take a lot of time, but the game mode itself is a little clunky, right? It's still done with the hidden teams, and you can do all the Grand Party matches in 20 minutes and be done for the day with good rewards. 100% agree with this one. Shout out to Stanley. A lot of people probably don't agree with this one, but I agree. Like GP, good rewards, not a lot of time investment. It's just that you're not always going to get all of the rewards because you can get kind of destroyed by the RNG. We got Eden says TM and Kizuna should be available for the entire month. During that time, you should be able to clear the Kizuna boxes, reach 10 million TM points. Only the ranking should be time limited. We've mentioned this so many times, literally for years. Since TM has come into the game, this is something that I have suggested to them multiple times. Just make it available until the next TM comes out. Like, maybe like a couple days before the TM drops, like the new one drops. Just like cancel the season so no one can play, so you can set up the new season. And then boom, available for another like 28 days or however many days it is, right? And then just make the first 4 to 5 days a ranking period, and then if people can't play during that time period, they can still play and invest their time. They can still, spend gems to refresh their stamina just to get those 10 million point rewards. That would be a fantastic idea. Kizuna Clash, you could also say the same thing as well. I agree with this one. However, Kizuna Clash is a little bit different because with TM, once you reach 10 million points, or 15, depending on if it's a special TM, you can't really get any more rewards except by farming it. Whereas with Kizuna Clash, you can consistently get like all these tickets and get a bunch of rewards from the Kizuna boxes. So I think that there is a bit of a difference there, honestly. Maybe it's like once you reach like box 7, you can't go any further or something like that. Or maybe you can only reset box 7 a certain amount of times once the season ends. Because, yeah, I don't know. People would be able to abuse the amount of rewards in TM. We got Chavez. I genuinely believe the gameplay mechanics and unit mechanics are better than Dokkan Battle, but the incessant banners and pacing, as well as subsequent events being dependent on said units, is probably one of the game's biggest limiting factors. Yeah, this is very, very valid, and it's part of the reason why the game, well, I'd say it's not the main reason, but it is one of the factors as why Treasure Cruise has not been as popular as some other gacha games out there. But also, like, Treasure Cruise is an insanely complex game. Like, if you're trying to, like, I've done it so many times before as a more experienced player. I've played this game literally since, like, I played this game 1 month after its official release. Like, I've literally been with this game since it came out, essentially. And I have helped many, many, many new players jump into this game and given them feedback in terms of what they should be doing and how to build teams and everything. And we've made tutorial guides and everything about how to play the game. And even then, this game is insanely complex for a new person to jump into, especially in 2025. So I don't blame people for not jumping into the game because it's really hard to learn everything. And at the end of the day, with how the devs have been treating their player base, I really can't recommend people jump in at this point. I really can't. So I agree. And I do see that there's been some responses to some of these as well. Should have been reading them. Let's see, given the older style of banners with side units. Yeah, so with this one here, given the older style of semis with ring of space, you're not only generating the hype for upcoming releases, had time to enjoy a legend before it is immediately phased out. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Not to rag on Dokkan, but for a while now, I felt the unit design and gameplay loop is pretty lacking. Big defense, big attack. Oh wait, so you're just talking about Dokkan now? Okay, well we need to talk about Dokkan. And fights aren't that mechanically interesting. This is probably the only edge that OPTC has still going for it. Yeah, I mean the gameplay mechanics of Treasure Cruise are really fun, but again, it's the fact that all of your buffs, all of the enemy buffs, the types of slots, team building mechanics, team positioning, ships. There's like so much that you need to learn in order to like get through content in Treasure Cruise. It's not like in Dokkan Battle where you can just, build a team and just literally run anything because the gameplay is very simplistic. But I think if they catered more to the casual audience, the game would be more successful. Let's continue on. We've got Adam here. Bandai's terrible client service, been 1 month and they still don't want to bring back my account. Yeah, I mentioned this to them actually. I actually literally linked the tweet. This guy Adam actually linked another tweet to me. Look at all these emails that this guy has sent to Bandai and they haven't responded back to him. Like, this is crazy. Like, give this man the information that he needs, because things are not going well for him. But yeah, that's gonna pretty much wrap it up for me for this one. Very interesting takes. Some very cool spicy hot takes, especially the artwork related ones. Again, artwork is subjective, but I'm gonna respectfully disagree with a lot of you guys out there, because I mean, look at this artwork. This artwork looks freaking sick, man. This is the new rare recruit that came out with Alba, Mr. One, and Mihawk. It just looks so good. Anyways, that is going to wrap it up from me, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any other thoughts and opinions, hot takes, definitely let me know down below in the comment section. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and if you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.